You're listening to Completing the Shelf, a nerd review podcast where two brothers take a deep dive into all of the corners of nerd culture, from film and television to video games, graphic novels, and whatever else we're passionate about.
Okay, welcome back to part 2 of the Switch discussion, where now we talk about the hardware. Last part 1, we talked about all the games, all the launch lineup. It probably will come up again, but here in part 2, we're going to talk about everything that has to do with the machine itself. And I have to say, this is probably one of the sexiest machines Nintendo's ever put out when it comes to just sleek hardware. It's very Apple of them.
I agree. The imagination that this thing inspires in you, the things you can do. The first initial trailer with all the people grabbing it and going on the plane really just opens up the possibilities, and that's what Nintendo does best, I believe, with their consoles.
They open up this event, and the first thing they drop is release date, March 3rd, which whenever Nintendo gives me a month, it's coming out in May. I'm assuming May 30th. You know what I mean? I'm assuming the last day possible. So when they're on the early end of March, that really surprised me. I did not expect Nintendo to ever, it's coming out in March, and it's not the last second possible that it could ever come out.
Already subverting expectations.
Yes, March 3rd, I just feel like, this is when Zelda's done. Okay, we'll release it. That's really what it feels like to me, is the Switch is contingent on Zelda. Once Zelda was ready, then they could release the Switch. That's all that mattered.
Well, good move.
So then right after the date, which got me excited, I'm like, wow, we're going to get it 4 weeks earlier pretty much than I thought. Then they announced the price at $299.99, and there's only one SKU, $299.99. What do you think about the price there? Too high, too low? What do you think?
Sounds great to me. Sounds reasonable for the versatility of the product. Mm-hmm. So I have no problems with it. So
I think if it was cheap, this is a weird thing, but I'm happier it's more expensive, because it signifies there's some actual tech in this. It's an expensive device because there's stuff in it that makes it worth it. If it was $199, if it was $249, I don't know, something about that would make me feel uneasy, like it's a cheaper thing, like it is cheap itself, like the making of it. So I'm actually happy it was it aimed a little above the predictions we've heard online. But there is no pack-in game, and I feel like that is one thing that might hurt it at that price point. Again, it is new console. New consoles usually don't have pack-in games, except for the Wii. But 1-2 Switch just seems like a pack-in game, so I don't know. That's the only thing where I'm like, the value, maybe not. Because you can get an Xbox One, you can get a PS4 for $300 today. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But do those come with packing games?
Now they do, yes. Yeah. They do now. Now the Switch is new. New hardware always is more expensive. When the PS4 and Xbox One came out, Xbox One was $500, PS4 was $400. So they've all gone down in price. You should expect a more premium price for a brand new console. If you're going in thinking it's going to be immediately competitive with 4-year-old tech, that's not going to happen. It's still there though, and none of those you can take anywhere.
Gamers like me, the casual, I might wait and watch the price drop.
You know what I think? I'll think they'll do is when Mario comes out, they'll have a bundle with Mario in it.
Yes.
And then for holiday, that's their Black Friday holiday bundle. It'll be a Switch and then the Mario Odyssey, maybe.
Mario or Zelda again.
Or Zelda, yeah. It could just be... I expect this holiday there be a bundle for the Switch where it comes with the Switch, and maybe even it comes with a Joy-Con with a little M on it, like red Joy-Con with an M.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And an L and a green one on the right.
Do you think Mario Kart is as profitable or a selling point enough that they could bundle it with that and a wheel?
Well, the only problem is it might confuse, because that's their Wii U bundle is Mario Kart. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you look at it what's the difference? What is this? You know what I mean?
You get a Switch.
But I know, but when I worked at Target, literally, I would say last November, so 2016, someone asked me, is the Wii U a portable console? It was still confusing. So the base level of the average consumer they're gonna be confused if it's not 100% distinct and clear. So that was the problem with the Wii U. It wasn't as distinct. Where the Switch so far, I mean, it's pretty obvious what it does, and I think it might have so much like features that it might confuse people, but that clear portable console experience, that's right there. That's immediately recognizable.
I think such a simple concept. TV and not on TV.
Well, and again, there's existed products that have the same capability. There's NVIDIA. NVIDIA has products like that, but there's a cumbersome. You got to get the cable. You got to hook up the Switch. You put it in the dock. You take it out of the dock. There's nothing else. It's such a seamless transition, and they've been demoing it at the New York event, and we live journalism's videotaping it, and it is exactly as seamless as they'd advertised. So that's exciting.
That is, because the trailer seemed too good to be true.
It is exactly like that. Now, certain TVs might just, the HDMI might, like some TVs are faster and slower, just the HDMI connection. But if it's slow, it's 1 second to 2 seconds. But to the actual, if you're going from TV to portable, it's immediate. It's exactly immediate.
That's awesome.
Now, if you buy a Switch at launch, you're getting a console. Obviously, you're getting the Switch console. You're getting a dock, which... the dock will run separately for $90. If you want to buy a second dock, like just put it somewhere else in your house or some other house you have, whatever, you can just buy a second one. So you just have it there. You don't have to bring your dock with you.
It comes with two. Just for a dock.
It's $90.
An HDMI cord and a charger.
That's the theme here. Is that the accessories on the Switch are expensive. We have two. It comes with two Joy-Cons. In the box, you get a Joy-Con grip in the box. The basic version, not the there's another version of the grip you can buy separately.
Now, what's the grip?
That is the regular controller style, like.
Oh, okay.
With that you slide the Joy-Cons in.
Sure.
And so it's not an actual controller. It's just
it's like a dock
base. It's a base,
Joy-Cons.
For it to be a real controller. Comes with those two Joy-Con wrist straps
as
well.
Does the grip charge the Joy-Con?
I'll get there.
Okay.
We never actually get to it. I'll just tell you right now, there's a charging grip version that's $29.99 that you have to get separately from the system. The one you get with the system doesn't charge it. So that's an extra $30 there. Thought I would mention that because we never do. Okay, back to it.
Yeah.
So it comes with the two Joy-Con wrist straps, which is cool. I didn't expect them to come with that. And those are going to be helpful for if you're using the Joy-Con as one controller, because it makes the shoulder buttons easier to press. You know when they saw that when they're playing Mario Kart, each one had one half of it.
Yeah.
So the Joy-Con wrist strap really just makes it easier to hold. I would say it's its biggest thing, even though it also is a wrist strap.
It's so crazy. The wrist straps just throw me back to nostalgia for the Wii, and it's weird that we're nostalgic for the Wii, but I get images of people throwing the Wiimotes into TVs and all those stupid stories.
Well, I was thinking about our discussion last time and how we were talking about, remember when he sat on the couch?
Yeah.
And I thought you brought up it's similar to the Wii and Nunchuck, but the biggest difference is there's two differences. One, it's a functional regular controller, has all the buttons you need, and two, there's no wire connecting them. With a Nunchuck, you had to plug into the Wiimote, so there was that.
Oh, that pesky wire.
So now you're just completely free of motion because it's not, they're not connected. Anyway, so awesome. You got your two wrist straps. Those are nice. That's awesome to have. You get an HDMI cord and you get the AC adapter. Now the AC adapter most of the time will be in your dock, but also if you need it to charge your Switch on the go, you just bring it with you. There's no power brick. It just it just has a thing.
Awesome.
It looks like a regular old control charger. So all of that you get with a Switch. That is what you are receiving when you buy a Switch. Like if you did pre-order it, that's what you're getting. If you want a Pro controller, which is the recommended regular controller for hour-long sessions, they do offer that. It's $69.99 per Pro controller. So that isn't the cheapest controller ever. But a lot of people are kind of blowing this out of proportion, this Pro controller price, and if you want an Xbox One controller, it's $60. If you want a PS4 controller, it's $60, okay? Now, if you want an Xbox One controller that also you can charge, and it's not battery, that's $70. You're already there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But with the Pro controller, you get the charging cable, you get the controller, and it has gyro sensing in the controller. It's actually motion control enabled regular controller. So if you're playing Splatoon, it has that gyro in this Pro controller. So you're also getting more tech. A PS4 controller is $4.99 if you just want it in red. If you just want it in a different color, it's more expensive than the regular. So it's not like this outlandish pricing. It has more tech in it, so it's $10 more.
I think part of the negative reaction is the price point on single Joy-Cons.
Well, this one too. No, people are equally, because this is the setup, the Pro controller that hardcores like, because it's the regular controller.
And people with regular sized hands.
And these are the people that are complaining about this pricing. The thing is like there's more tech in this. You get the charging cable, and there's more tech within the controller than a regular controller. So it's not like this big leap in price. It's $5 to $10 more, or the same price as an Xbox One controller with charging. Because if you want a charger battery with your Xbox One controller, it's $70. So this Pro controller has cool gyro sensors in it as well. So I'm a fan. I like it. I think it's a reasonable price based on the market. Obviously, I'd like it cheaper, but it's not like extreme or insane to me. Unlike the Joy-Con.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one Joy-Con. So you can buy a Joy-Con by itself. Who's
gonna buy just one Joy-Con?
If you lose one,
you have to get two.
If you lose one.
True.
So if you lose a Joy-Con, you need to replace it. It's $49.99 each. But if you want to buy two, they do sell a double pack that's $79.99. So you save $10 than buying them separately. Now, this is expensive. I would like to just to play devil's advocate, a Joy-Con in a Joy-Con. There's HD rumble, there's gyro sensors, there's IR cameras, there's NFC, near field communication, there's accelerometers, and there's the wireless, I assume Bluetooth functionality too, with a battery. So it's like, it's not like this devoid of tech. You know, if you want to buy a Wiimote, right, that's still $40 today, and it has considerably less tech and less efficient tech than what's in a Joy-Con. So together, if you bought two Wiimotes, it's $80. If you bought two Joy-Cons, it's $80. And I would say a Joy-Con can do more than a Wiimote. I think the Wiimote's overpriced, but
sure.
I don't like to say this like would blindside you. This is pretty consistent with their pricing so far. This isn't like they've gone crazy over there.
I think you have to think there might be some secondary companies having their own versions of the Joy-Con out too.
This is very expensive, and I would never buy a third-party Joy-Con ever. Like I would never buy a third-party controller ever. They're always horrible. So to me, it is expensive. But it at least is consistent. This isn't some out of the ballpark crazy pricing Nintendo's never done before. Any company ever done before. Controllers are expensive, and this at least has a lot of tech in it. This IR function, this HD rumble, those are like new things in controllers. They're not normally in it. And then they also have the NFC, compatibility with Amiibos.
Well, here's the thing to think about: the realistic use of this console.
Mm-hmm.
You and I, probably a lot of gamers, we're not going to do the mass group parties all too often, right?
Yeah.
And if we do, we just have a friend that brings their own Joy-Con. I'm sure we can link it up with the Switch and it'd be fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not going to need 8 Joy-Cons or 4 Joy-Cons probably.
Well, and I think in their presentation, the messaging was surprisingly focused on the controllers, the Joy-Con controllers.
I really enjoyed that part.
More so than I thought they would, and I feel like they spent so much time on it to convince that this price is worth it. It really is like, these controllers are awesome, and they're the reason that everything's cool about this. Which was surprising to me that they spent that much time messing on it when they didn't really even talk about it when they announced it. It was just the portable aspect of it. So,
well, they got to share the joy with us, man.
And then they're very cool. Like, what do you think about HD Rumble? What do you think about that? Is it just a gimmick that you'll never care about, or
is this the Ice Cube demonstration?
That is the Ice Cube demonstration.
Okay, I think it's really cool. Like we said in the last conversation, let's see if Nintendo actually takes advantage of this functionality.
Mm.
I think they will, but
I've
how
heard,
many games will?
So after all my watching of people at the event, I've heard mixed response to HD Rumble. Some people never noticed it.
They didn't feel the ice cubes?
In 1-2 Switch, there's one game that tries to take advantage of it more than the others. Now, all the games kind of do, but one is specifically, here's HD Rumble, where it's a game where you have a box with marbles in it, and there's no screen indication. Again, there's 1-2 Switch is all about not looking at the screen, and you just have to use the rumble to guess how many marbles are in this box that's kind of inside your Joy-Con. And what's found is it works. You can ballpark it, though. You can't really exact it, and
sure.
So people would be within 1 or 2 of the, but it's it's a rumble. There's no sound,
Well, okay, so that's a neat little trick.
Yeah.
That I'll play for maybe 5 minutes and then be done.
So that's the most clear. This is HD Rumble.
Sure.
Now in Zelda, people have noticed that it is minor things like the force at which you're blocked or something. You really feel it. But again, right at this present moment, it doesn't seem to be very impressive, I guess.
Well, like I said, I hopefully as Nintendo really gets things out there with the Switch, that they take advantage of this functionality.
Yeah, it looks like 1-2 Switch is using the IR a lot more than the HD Rumble, which is the detection camera. And I think that's 1-2 Switch's main gimmick, where they sometimes have an HD Rumble too. And then obviously 1-2 Switch is all motion control as well, but that's not new. So I think it's the Joy-Con is impressively packed with 400 devices that are all cool, and it still feels light and small. So I think it's a good idea. I think it's just that's a scary price for something so tiny.
Look, man, no matter what we've said, I think it's really exciting technology. I can't wait to get it in my hands and actually just tangibly
and again,
mess with it.
You get 2 of them with the console,
sure.
So you shouldn't need to buy any.
Yeah,
don't lose it. That's your fault.
Don't break it.
So then we learn about the capacitive touchscreen on the Switch, which is good news because the Wii U has a resistive touchscreen, same as the 3DS, which means it's single touch. And it works with the stylus, where a capacitive touchscreen is a smartphone. That's the type. It's multi-touch. That's
Makes
capacitive. Sense. So it has a modern tech screen where the Wii U doesn't. So good idea there. 720p resolution on the screen itself, which is cool. It's 6.3 inches or whatever. To have 720p on a screen that small, it's gonna look gorgeous. It's gonna look amazing. There's gonna be no comparable portable console in the market ever. This is going to be the prettiest one ever.
As a teacher, this is going to destroy my classroom.
Yes, so this is yes, it's the best portable mainstream console on the market. Good job, Nintendo. You made the prettiest one. It looks like spec wise, Nintendo still never released specs for Wii U, so we'll never know specifics. It looks like a souped up Wii U. Which is fine because it's portable.
Mm-hmm.
Mario Kart 8 got, it's running natively at 1080, where on Wii U is 720. It's not up-res, it's running natively, so it's a big difference. Up-res would mean less. So that's a good thing. It never dips frames on Mario Kart 8. A game that beautiful you can take on the go in the small screen. That's impressive, but it's not this huge leap. It's not a huge leap at all.
Okay.
But, that's a conjecture because they never release specs exact.
Well, the selling point is never been with Nintendo how beautiful it looks. It's about, the gameplay.
The problem with that is that's not something immediately present in a casual sense. When people, I've been hearing when people saw the new Mario game, they said this looks old. To us, it looks great, but it's, what I mean. It's it doesn't look like Uncharted 4, even though I would argue that I'd rather the game play well than look well. So.
Yeah, and the inventiveness.
This game looks old. It's to a casual onlooker looking at 2 commercials. Yeah, I guess so. But that opinion annoys me. Like
to
I just don't like that opinion.
The Transformer movie generation, they just want it to look
awesome.
I
don't like that opinion, and I wish it was dead. So
moving on.
It charges with a USB-C charging port, which is great news.
Neat.
It's a style of charging that everyone uses. Not everyone uses USB-C specifically, but USB. And that means it's not this proprietary system that only Nintendo makes. USB-C is made for fast charging, and there's no special side. It just goes in with any way you put it in. USB you have to flip it to the correct side. Well, USB-C that doesn't exist. It's just all.
Awesome.
So that's great news. It's a modern fast charging. You can go to Target. You can buy a portable charger and you can use it on your Switch. Great news, which is good because its battery life is either horrid or okay. 2.5 to 6.5 hours of battery life. It's 6.5. 3. They said 3 for Zelda. Now, that's what matters because Zelda is probably the most intensive game they have out for it.
Mm-hmm.
I would expect a game like 1-2 Switch is closer to 6 hours. But this is also this is developer math kind of thing. Like, okay, what is it really though?
Yeah, we'll see.
What this is also, they said this was the numbers for brightest setting, the brightest setting. That's what they said as well. So if you turn the brightest down, it might affect it. But again, kind of hard to tell. 32 gigabyte internal hard drive. That's more than I thought. I'm glad that's
Still
there.
A question there about
because
games like Zelda, if you want to play it locally.
Zelda's about 11 gigs, I believe.
Okay.
But the thing is, I never buy digital. I always buy physical. So for me, I don't care. I just filled up my Wii U recently, and I've had it since 2013.
Yeah,
it has 32 gigs.
Are going paperless. They're going just everything's online. They might be a little disappointed with that.
They have you can upgrade it with a micro SD card up to 2 terabytes. The Nintendo said, and that doesn't exist yet. 2 terabytes is not on the market. 1 terabyte is on the market. I think they're at 500 something right now that you can buy. It's not cheap, but that is cool. That once it becomes cheaper, it'll still work for the Switch because a lot of tablets. Their SD card expansion memory capabilities is usually 32 gigs. It blocks it. So this is good news. Again, I don't know.
Let's look into the future.
Well, the thing is it's a cartridge based system. You know what I mean? So you're not going to be. There's not a lot of space that you need to carry your games with you anymore.
True.
Because your carrying case probably can hold 6 games or whatever. I don't know how whatever they can come out with. And they're small little cartridges. They look like little 3DS carts. So it's not going to be terribly difficult to carry them around. But I don't know. I won't mind. I'll buy them physical because that's just how I am. I need to buy them physical.
Do you think they move from discs to cartridges for the games to go along with that portability of the console?
Because you can't. If you're moving with a disc reader, that's going to mess up the disc reader. I mean, that's really the thing. You can't do that. It's just not reliable. Your disc reader will, screw up and break your disc, So that's why. That's why they did that. So I like that they're cartridges. I mean, cartridges you can fit as much as you want on as a disc, probably more than. So big fan of that. I like cartridges.
It just sounds throwback,
Yeah.
I just imagine us all blowing air into the bottom of them, and
well, they look like SD cards. Really, they look like fat SD cards. No region locking, which for some reason I know people like this is such a hardcore thing that no casual consumer would care about. Really, some might, people that travel a lot, but really, region locking never affected 90% of the people that owned anything. But this is good news. Just if you want a game. And the biggest thing I saw at Target was people that traveled from Britain and they had their 3DS and they wanted to buy a game here and they couldn't because it wouldn't work on their 3DS because it's a different region and that's region locking. So it's good that if they come to America, they can still buy a game, it'll still work. But a lot of the people that are excited about this are crazy nerds who want to import games early or import games that are exclusive to regions. That's what people are excited about. And that's such a niche, small population of people that no one would care about in a casual market sense, and that I would never use. I don't need that. Why would I import a game I can't read just to get it early? Because a lot of Fire Emblem, Xenoblade, they come out 6 months, 8 months early in Japan, and then they translate it and bring it out here. Well, sure. Now you can just buy the Japanese one, but that's stupid. like people are already asking. Well,
let
people
them have their fun.
I guess, yeah, but so. No, but they're treating this as a huge deal when I think it's minor. And it's a good thing still. It's still a positive, but it's a minor positive when compared to everything else.
Well, you know what? I think it goes along with the freedom that this whole Switch concept embodies, that you can just go anywhere.
Yes.
Even buy their games anywhere, too.
They usually don't region lock their systems. This is one of they have before, but I don't think recently they did. I don't think the DS was region locked. I don't think the Wii was. Maybe I'm wrong. But now they're finally coming back because Wii U and 3DS were, and doing that. So that's cool. I like that. It's just I don't think it's revolutionary or a huge deal. Here's a huge deal.
Paid online service.
Oh my! Right. Never has Nintendo done this.
When I heard this, I'm like, what? This is going against your thing.
Now, we have no idea pricing. We barely know anything about this, and that's annoying because it's like you need to convince us it's worth it.
Exactly.
Now I guess when I pre-order this, it's going to be free until fall.
Yes.
I assume it's still going to be working. It's just going to be free until fall, which is scary because it means it's not ready upon launch, and they should have gotten it ready upon launch. I assume I'm just going to be the beta tester essentially, but it's weird because apparently their messaging is it's not native to the console. That's a weird. It's all on this smartphone app or smart device app that you control independently from the Switch. So if you want to invite friends to a game or voice chat, it's through your phone. I'm assuming. Again, it's very weird, but they don't specifically say Switch. It says smart device app.
Huh.
So what I'm assuming they're saying is, if I want to invite you to a game of Splatoon, I have to get on my phone, pull up the app, invite you there, and then go to the voice chat part and voice chat you with the phone. Which, if I'm doing that, I might as well be on Google Hangout like we're doing right now and just talk to you on there. So it's a very weird system. Now, maybe it can be good. I have no idea. They haven't lined out anything for it. We know nothing really about this. But
so now you have to have an expensive Switch and a smartphone as well. And data or Wi-Fi.
I'm very confused by this because smart device could mean the Switch. I have no idea. As well. I don't know. It's a weird thing to not just detail to us and leave us in the dark, wondering where's the exit? What's going on here?
The fact that it's free for a while means they're still going to be figuring it out in the first couple months of launch.
It's like if I'm paying for this, it better be great. It better be just as good as Xbox One, just as good as PlayStation 4, but automatically if this cumbersome smartphone step is there, it's not going to be as good because it's not native to the console.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And Nintendo's never been really about online play.
So that's why I'm excited on one hand, they're taking it seriously. This might be actually good. But then I'm looking at the smartphone thing and I'm like, well, what does this mean? What does it mean here? Yeah, I need more details, and I think that was a bad thing to leave people in the dark for, because it makes them feel like they have no plan. And
I think I read about getting free games once a month.
I've been
rent.
So it's like you get a free NES or SNES game for a month, and then after that month's over, you lose the game.
That's ridiculous.
Now, I mean, if you beat it, who cares? I don't mind, but apparently in some of the Super Nintendo games, we touched on this a little bit, there's going to be online functionalities, brand new online functionality.
That's cool.
Which is cool.
Reviving old games.
That's pretty smart, but I'm very confused why it's just those two consoles. That's a weird two consoles. You have all these consoles, But I don't know. It's weird. I don't like they set up My Nintendo. They got rid of Club Nintendo a few years ago. They set up My Nintendo, and I hate My Nintendo. It feels like a job, and I never use it. I use Club Nintendo every time. My Nintendo sucks because, and here's the big thing for me, on Club Nintendo, if you ever bought anything from Nintendo, you got points towards it, and you got to like get free things. Sometimes they were physical things too. Like I got the Smash CD of the 24 tracks on the Smash CD for free because of Club Nintendo. I got all this stuff from Club Nintendo, awesome things, and then I also got free digital games as well if I wanted. Every month you got a choice of a free digital game, and that was it. But in my Nintendo, digital games are the only games that count for this, and I never buy digital games on my Nintendo. So I don't even I give Nintendo all this money, but it's always physical, so I don't get any of the rewards for it. That's one thing. The second thing is it's really focused on their app games, so you get a lot from Miitomo and Super Mario Run points from it, and all the prizes are digital sales. So you'll get like, you get 14% off Super Mario 3D World if you have this many coins. It's not even like you get free games. You just get discounts on games you already have because you're using this and you're buying all the Nintendo games, but you bought them physically, so you can't even get a reward from it. And
that's
the fact,
disappointing.
It's the worst thing, and I hate it. So, and that's the thing they're committing to with this online service. Is going to be compatible with it somehow. I'm not sure why or how, but I hate that.
Do we know this
thing.
could be My Nintendo, or is it something totally different?
Well, no, but like My Nintendo is part of this infrastructure they're building, and it's just going to be a cornerstone of it. And I hate it. I wish it didn't exist, and I wish they would just bring back. And I'm not actually alone with this. This is pretty popular because it's like you don't even get anything. You just get discounts on games. And if you're like me or like anyone who would use it, you're already a rabid Nintendo fan. You already have the 4-year-old game. You know, like I don't need to buy. Get a 20%. Now for you, like the thing is, it forces you to buy games to get points, but then the points only give you discounts on the games you already probably bought. You know, it's just it's a problem. I don't like it.
Not much of a reward for long-term loyal fans,
especially when the last one was failing and not doing well, and people were upset with it. But in comparison, was miles better still. It's like, okay, we'll get rid of this because obviously, we're not, it's not a great system. We're gonna give you this new system, and somehow this new system just makes me nostalgic for this old system that was already declining and not doing that well. And this one's just 10 times worse, and it's brand new. It's like, what were you thinking? Like you get a point every time you use Miitomo. I don't want to use Miitomo. I don't use my phone. I don't care about your phone apps. I don't care. I want to just buy your games physically and still get the same reward as someone digitally. Anyway, that was a long rant.
So connect up to 8 Switch control consoles for local wireless play.
Tell
me about that.
Yeah, there's a split screen option if you only have one Switch. So certain games just you just 2 controllers. But also if you're playing Splatoon, there's no split screen. Now, but if you have friends who have a Switch and they bring the Switch together, you can all play a match together locally, up to 8 people.
Without a cell phone or anything?
Well, the cell phone isn't like providing the connection. It's just like the way in which you interact. Which you interact. But, we assume. But anyway, so that's cool. You can connect up to 8 entire Switches. That means you probably could, depending on the game, have like 16 people playing at the same time. If you're all, because 2 players split screen and then 8 different consoles. That's a pretty cool thing. To have that. I think the 3DS can do up to 4, so it's just doubling what the 3DS could do. I think that's a good thing for if the Switch sells well. Bring your Switch party, whatever. Bring all your Switch stuff. Wait in a line, whatever. Play Smash local wirelessly with your friends. I think it's a good idea. I think that's impressive too, because that's a lot of signals going around. It doesn't get jumbled. But like you could play the Splatoon tabletop, just like on the TV. It's like another way to say, hey, this console can do everything. We really made it so you can do everything.
Well, it's about the freedom of connecting anywhere you want to go.
Now,
I think that's a big message of the game.
My favorite part about the Joy-Cons, one thing is even the console itself, I like how modular it is. These rails, you put things in, you can put anything in there. You could engineer anything. You could make a VR headset. And just you slide the Switch rails into the headset, you have a VR headset. They made the system so modular, and with the controller as well, where they have this rail connector thing. Anyone could do anything with it. It's really a really cool idea to have the console itself be able to be modded by just a device, an external device. You could just slide the Switch into a VR headset. You have a VR headset. You have a screen that's 720p, so it's decent resolution, it's decent horsepower too. It's a console essentially. It's a really good idea, and it gives them like flexibility to change with the times without making a new console. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, the tech of the Switch is just so exciting with the possibilities.
The console is fantastic. This is a great console because it is portable. It's their most like appealing visually console ever, because the Wii U looks like a Fisher-Price toy compared to this. It's big and plasticky and shiny, and this looks sleek and it's matte, and it's very cool. I like it a lot.
It looks like my iPad, It looks sleek.
Yes, it's very thin. Now, what do you think of the two color variations, the SKU, where you get the neon red and neon blue? Would you ever consider getting those?
It makes me just think of Mario, and that's cool if you're really into it. It does. I don't know if I would display that in my entertainment center.
Yeah, it seems that seems like to distract from the non-toy image. It's like, oh, but we have these candy color ones too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the Switch. I think obviously we're both happy with the console. I think we're overall excited for everything that's coming from here.
I think what this launch gave us, besides being dull, but us like talking about it, has really made me excited for the promise in the future. Can Nintendo capitalize on that with inventive gameplay that really takes advantage of the mobility of it and just the creative ways people can interact together? We'll see. But I'm excited for that possibility.
They could make a game 900 different ways now with all the technology in each controller.
We talked about at the end of last week's show, and I kept thinking about this. Like, I almost want to do an episode where me and you make up a video game, where when you take the Switch out of the dock and you play it on the bus, like you said, you're unlocking things in some overworld.
My genius thought, yes.
That was a great idea, and I think those how storytelling going to change, and will they focus on storytelling more with the Switch?
That's not going to happen.
And its capabilities, is that going to be improved?
That's
what I'm looking forward to.
The one criticism I agree with people, but I just don't feel as strongly, is the third parties seem very hesitant already at the gate. They don't feel. I don't feel like they're committed yet in any way. Again, I don't care because I don't like their games most of the time. I think all their priorities are misaligned in how games are good.
Well, okay, let's think about third parties. Now they have to adapt to something that's unlike anything else. They have to
No, incorrect. This is probably Nintendo's most friendly and adaptable system they've ever made. It has Unity, it has Unreal Engine. You can make it as basic. They're not forced to make any gimmick. There's no design aspect that makes it portable. It just becomes portable because of the tech. They don't have to think about that really, except for performance. So I think this is one of their most open platforms. That's why it's concerning that there's nothing really exciting that third parties have announced. It's really, really weak third party commitment so far.
Well, you don't get a Nintendo system to play a third party.
But you should be. That's scary because that's what people want to buy. I think most people are incorrect in what they want to buy, but that's the fact of it. That because it doesn't have EA didn't come there and announce FIFA, Madden, Battlefield 1. They didn't announce Mass Effect. They didn't announce any of these games. They only announced one FIFA. EA has 400 IPs they could bring to this, and they only announced one. So it's already non-committal. Ubisoft brought Steep, which came out in the fall and completely flopped, so it's just some way to recoup that. Ubisoft's bringing out Rayman Legends Definitive Edition, which the original game's 3 years old, and the Definitive Edition is 2 years old. So it's it's already this crazily old game that we're coming out of launch, the most non-committal thing ever. And it's just a scary
when I go
thought.
To a Star Wars movie, I want a fun adventure that looks amazing. Mm-hmm. I don't go to Star Wars for social commentary like I do for Star Trek.
We don't.
Two different things.
Don't.
So the Nintendo systems, it's just fun.
We don't.
If you want pure fun and joy,
we aren't a big group. We are not a big group.
I just don't know. I don't see how someone that could play Mario Kart and Smash.
In my ideal gaming is set up, if I liked every game, I would have a PC and I'd have a Nintendo system, because you can get every game on a PS4 and Xbox One, essentially most of them, on a PC, and they usually run better. Where you can't get Nintendo anywhere else. Those should be the two things that you have. But yeah, your Uncharted's, your Call of Duties. That's what sells systems now, which is unfortunate.
Now, hold on. You made me think of something. You said you usually can't get Nintendo anywhere else but Nintendo hardware. So is this dangerous that they're trying to move into the smartphone game?
No, because it's not their... No, not at all. I don't care about that. That's great. I love when they make money. I would I would care if they started making Mario on PlayStation 4. That's when I would care. That would annoy me. But mobile, it's such a different experience. It's not their main thing. It's just supposed to draw people to their main thing. And
Yeah,
I
but
would
with a
hate
casual fan that hasn't played a system in 20 years, like this, get their Mario.
we can. Well, that's
fix.
that's the plan. Now, when Pokemon Go launched, Pokemon sales on 3DS and 3DS sales spiked
Really
considerably. They like 4 times year to date. So
fascinating.
and
I
then
guess
Sun
it has
Sun
brought
and
me
Moon
back into the
obviously
game of
sold
Pokemon
well.
too.
Yeah, so it's just to that's actually bolstering their main console production. Where I don't like most the priorities in modern games, which most of it's story, and I think the stories in video games aren't that good. So, and if your focus is story, that's a problem.
I see a future where storytelling and entertainment and video gaming.
I do not want that from video games. I don't care. I could care less if the story's good if the game's fun. Why I like playing video games is I like pressing buttons and making action on the screen. You know, and if that's a difficult thing that I have to master and it's really cool and feels great, that's what I care about. If there's no story, the game is no worse. You know what I mean? To me, at least. If there's no story, it doesn't take anything away from the game. If there is a story, it can help, and if the story's bad, it can just detriment it. But if there isn't any story, like a Mario, it's just, the bland old thing. It does not. There's no negative. You never see like in the pros and cons, the story's bland in a Mario game because who cares? The game's great.
Well, you have a point. Like if a movie doesn't look good, it's not shot well. No matter how good the story is, and it's not going to be received well because it's a visual medium. So you're right. With video games, they have to play well and be smooth and immersive.
That's what's so inherently
special.
special.
In the future, I think, needs to be a lot more compelling. I'm all for that. Is that what Nintendo needs to be doing? I don't know, because that hasn't been their thing. But it looks like they're trying to do that with Zelda, with the voice acting now.
Here's the thing. Like Zelda, the story looks great. Like I'm going to love that game regardless if the story's great, though. Like that's the difference of this. The inherent special part of this medium, video games, is the actual input to reaction. And now in a lot of modern games, it's all about cutscenes. So there's no really special input to reaction in a lot of modern games. It's more just here's some bland gameplay to get to the cool cutscene. And if you and that's why they can never make video game movies well, because video game plots suck. So that's why they can't make movies well, because the characters are boring and all that, But it's cool because it's in a video game. So like your level that you're able to tolerate goes down or goes up because it's in a video game. The story's cooler just because it's that. But once you translate to a video game story to a movie, they're always awful for some reason because it's just how it is.
Well, because the game doesn't elevate character above the experience.
Well, they do. That's the problem. They start to elevate this, lesser thing above the experience now, where now it's all about this lesser thing, and the lesser thing is still lesser. It's just now they've also made the gameplay not good. So I don't know. That's the problem I have with modern games. So I if story happens, great, but I'd rather it just be fun. A Tetris game's going to be more fun to me than Uncharted 4 will ever be. So it's just because the game's fun. I don't play it to watch a movie.
That's why as a little kid you were obsessed with Super Mario or Dr. Mario, whatever it was.
Oh, Dr. Mario, I still am obsessed. Dr. Luigi on Wii U is one of my favorite games on that console.
Sweet, pure fun. I think that goes with the Joy-Cons. It's just a perfect name.
I love the name. A lot of people don't like the name. I love the name. I think it's just so Nintendo. It's the best Nintendo.
It's pure. It's like their message, like we're not trying to be anything different than just pure joy and fun.
Yes,
Also, we'll charge you for an online system that doesn't make any sense.
Again, a story characters can bolster a game. I love Fire Emblem, and a lot of it's because of the characters. But it also has this core mechanic that's genius. and the core mechanic was there, and then they built upon it. It's just how they design games. I feel like Nintendo has, here's a concept that's fun. Let's build something that makes sense in around it. Where I feel like a lot are just like, here's a cool setting, here's a cool scene, here's a cool character. Let's build a game around this, where it should be the other way around. I feel like when they made this Zelda, they just had the idea, open world.
Yeah.
Things you can do. Okay, we have the world working, we have the physics working. Let's build a story around it. And I love that. Like, that's where it can work. Instead of just
and traditional good storytelling has to start the other way. So maybe just the premise on which these games and storytelling come from is what's different.
Yeah,
but,
I think
someday in the future there'll be some kind of merger and we'll get a good story. I know one of my friends really loves Last of Us. I've never played it, but apparently has a great story.
Yeah,
is the gameplay fun? I don't know.
Okay, well, you brought up Last of Us. I'm gonna bring it in. It's to make a game, you inherently can't be side by side, because there's gonna be gamey things. So, especially a game like Last of Us, where it's very cutscene heavy, you can go into this cool room, have an awesome cutscene, and it's this realistic zombie, apocalyptic kind of story, really gritty, and then you leave the room and you go out to the courtyard, and there's a bunch of chest-high walls, and you're like, oh, I'm going to be shooting people. It's just like that completely rips you out of the whole immersion, because that doesn't happen in real life. There's never just a courtyard with a bunch of chest-high walls where, there's going to be shooting happening. It's inherently diametrically opposed when that's your focus. And Last of Us, the gameplay of Last of Us is boring. It's a lame game. That's the problem. The story's fine, but I won't ever enjoy playing it. Same with Tomb Raider. Rise of the Tomb Raider is the last game I played like this. And 90% of it feels like it's just trying to be modern game X. Where then 10%, there's these cool puzzle dungeons that have no story. They're just little dungeons with puzzle solving that is awesome. But I do not care enough to wander through the other 90% to get to these cool parts that I dropped it. The story was not enough.
Then you would love Metro Prime games.
Well, and the problem is, there's cool stories, but games are 30 hours long. No story is that engrossing. You know what I mean?
It could be though. Imagine, Tommy. Imagine.
Yeah, but stories in games are usually a movie at most, amount of story. You know what I mean? It's not. I
want an interactive novel. I have to take this to Star Trek.
That exists, and they're lame. They're lame, Chris.
We got to beam up to the Starship Enterprise, USS Enterprise, and go talk about holodeck. Now, you don't watch a lot of Star Trek, but this is that virtual
Well, you haven't played Mass Effect. You're crazy. You love Mass Effect.
I know. I need to, but I don't have time.
And that'll show you that, here's a great story with a great world and really clunky gameplay.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Ugh.
I'm not saying it exists, but I think it's someday.
Telltale is a company who makes, story games where it's really just...
They have a Batman game out, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just games about story. There's no gameplay. I hate them. They're boring. I can't stand them. I tried to play the Walking Dead game. I got through the first 2 episodes of the first one. I couldn't play. There's 5 episodes of it, and it's just. I'd rather be watching a television show. This is a boring, ugly version of a show that might be good.
Here's something. Okay.
I can't understand why people want this in their games, and more Nintendo's one of the few companies that don't do this, and that's why I love them so much.
Final thoughts.
Okay.
TV was always the ugly duckling of media storytelling, and motion pictures was where it was at. All the best actors, all the best writers went to motion pictures, directors. Now it's they're on equal playing fields now. Movie stars are on TV shows. TV stars are going to movies. Same with directors and writers. It's just going together. So these two different mediums have fused in some way. I see, maybe in 50 years, the Steven Spielbergs going down and being involved in game design and direction and just more fusion of different
happened.
mediums.
That's happened already. Guillermo del Toro's made a game. They've had.
Yeah, but your whole premise is that it hasn't happened well and consistently to make an immersive, fun.
I just don't think it's possible. Don't think it's possible. The closest that people give this suppose award, like people give Dark Souls the best series ever because it's like the Venn diagram of everything good. There's cool lore, it's a cool world, but also the gameplay is great. And the thing about that game is there's like no cutscenes, there's like barely any dialogue, and the lore is all like hidden within subtext. Okay. So you have to dive deeper. It's not inherently amazing story wise. There's no like characters you get invested in. It's all deeper, and so it doesn't distract from the gameplay. So I really feel that the more cutscenes you have, the more focus on that, it automatically detriments the gameplay in some way. It's when
detriment.
When that's your focus. When your focus is that, you know what I mean?
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, it's many years
I think it's inherently the wrong way to go about it. It's just a priority thing. Like Halo 5, this whole thing about Locke hunting Master Chief, and that's all the way they market it, and that was the priority, and yet, guess what? It didn't happen. Like, it's just lame. It was a lame story.
No spoilers, I haven't finished it yet.
The story definitely made the game worse. Like, it was impossible to care.
Was the gameplay fun, though?
If the game was focused, the gameplay was fun, but the level design wasn't, and the actual structure of the game. You fought the same boss like 8 times in that game. So... there's something will fall. Something will fall. I just really feel it will. Where if you play Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, that game's perfect from beginning to end. It's the best platformer ever, and it's consistently interesting, new ideas. I get more immersed in that game with no story than I do in a game with a story.
I do have to say, I don't want a sprawling epic for Mario Kart. Some reason that they're all together racing.
That's the thing. Like, so you can have it. I think Zelda will be fun, but it will be fun regardless of the story, even if the story's awful. Because a lot of Zelda stories are all the same. It's just because that's how Nintendo makes games. They make the game fun. You know what's interesting?
A Super Smash Bros. Brawl tried to have a big epic story that brought all the characters together, and that was cool, but it didn't really matter.
Well, the one thing, I think the physics of Smash Brothers doesn't really lend well to a platformer adventure game. I think that was the biggest problem, is just the game wasn't tight enough to like be fun.
Yeah.
Like, just because they didn't change the physics, because of course you wouldn't. That's crazy.
It looked beautiful.
But, yep. I feel like even no matter what Nintendo comes out with, if they make their games the way they make their games, like on the Switch, it looks like they're doing, no matter the hardware, really, it's gonna be fun to play.
Sure. Well, is that your final
at least
thought?
the hardware on this one looks great, though. That's the best part. This is probably their best hardware in a while.
The probably imagination it can inspire, just the promise that the hardware has. I'm excited to get
I think this is their best console since GameCube when it comes to just hardware, because the Wii was like arguably just as strong as a GameCube, so there was no leap in graphics, and the Wii U was just so muddled in its messaging and obviously didn't do well, and it was not supported for very long. So
look, the name Wii was dumb. I mean, it just was.
The Wii U was dumb. Wii was great. Wii was a great meme. Name, sorry. Well, it was a meme too.
All right, final thoughts on the hardware of the Nintendo Switch.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. No matter the hardware, I'm going to love Nintendo, but actually this one looks like good hardware too. So it's like even better. It gets both of my things that I love that are great. And I think that's awesome. I love it. I want it.
Cool. Well, why don't you let our listeners know how they can contact us, give us their opinions on the Nintendo Switch hardware, what they want to see from it. And yeah.
Yeah, email us at Gmail, our Gmail account. It's completingtheshelf@gmail.com. Of course, the comments below on YouTube is a great place as well to give us your thoughts quicker than an email. Unless you have a really long thing, then just email it. But you know what? You need to give your final thoughts. Switch, what about it?
I think I've said it. I'm really excited about the promise of the game, what they can do with it. I want to see them to create unique experiences based off of the freedom and versatility of the device. So, give me these new creative games.
So, that's awesome. I'm excited. Mario and Holiday, I feel like if you haven't been sold until then, that's the time you get sold on it. E3, hopefully they have more in E3. Actually, tomorrow, from recording this, they'll have a Fire Emblem Direct. Very excited for it. But E3, I hope they have some things to show for E3, especially maybe fill out 2017 a little more with those little games, and also show us some 2018. I want to know what I'm looking forward to.
And more info on the online.
They did announce their Mario will be playable at E3. So
Sweet.
That's exciting. And I think that's it for this one.
All right.